Hey everyone, and welcome. After analyzing hundreds of replays submitted by real players just like you looking to improve and climb the ladder, we've identified the most common mistakes players make in each ELO bracket. If you've ever wondered what you're doing wrong and why you're struggling to climb the ladder, then this guide is for you. We've separated each ELO bracket into three main sections of this video: Bronze, Gold, and Diamond. Bronze represents low ELO, Gold represents mid ELO, and Diamond represents high ELO. For each of these ranks, we'll be breaking down the three most important areas you need to focus on improving to start seeing immediate results. All of the replays analyzed in this guide were submitted by members on our website, skillcapped.com. Sign up today and get way more guides that are the exact same quality as the ones here on YouTube. I also personally respond to all the questions on my videos at Skillcapped every single week, so head on over there to make your desired rank this season a reality. Alright, let's get into it. Let's first start with Bronze ELO. When analyzing Bronze players, we found three very important things that were keeping them from climbing. The first was Champion Mastery. Now, what exactly do we mean by this? Champion Mastery encompasses knowing your champion's build, skill order, and combos. We found that over 50% of Bronze players took the wrong skill order and built the wrong items for the champions they were playing. However, even more alarming was that well over 90% of them didn't know how their combos worked. Not knowing how to combo your abilities results in you missing out on kills and failing ganks. For example, let's take a look at a Bronze Warwick. Regardless of your ELO, I want you to watch this clip and tell me what you think he did wrong when it came to using his abilities. Firstly, when he moved to gank, he didn't activate his W ability. This would have given him a movement speed boost he could use to chase down Nidalee so he wouldn't have to use Flash to engage on her. Secondly, when he engaged on Nidalee, he immediately used his Q, but the bigger mistake was that he tapped the ability. When you hold down Warwick's Q ability, you can hang on to the opponent, moving through them and following them. For example, you can see I used my Q ability, holding it down, moving through to the other side, and latching onto the enemy. This can be comboed with your E ability. Since Warwick's E ability will fear the enemy, causing them to run away from you, the optimal usage case is to hold your Q to go through the enemy, then use your E to fear them so they run in the opposite direction. If you're stuck in low ELO, then I promise you, mastering your champion's build and combos will often be enough to push you to the next rank. Now, the second most important area to focus on improving, if you're in Bronze, is basic route knowledge for the champion you're playing. Let's jump into a replay from a Bronze Kayn. Again, regardless of your ELO, I want you to answer this question. With Kayn starting at his Raptors, doing a leashless opener, what are the rest of the camps he clears in this route? Now, every jungler should know this, as Kayn has been a top tier jungler for a while now. He should do Raptors, Red, Krugs, Recall, buy a Hunter's Machete, and head to his blue. By doing Raptors, his bot lane doesn't have to leash, letting them get to lane earlier, giving them an advantage. Following this up by killing Krugs is so important in the current meta, as Krugs are worth the most gold and experience of any camp. By killing them, we get them to respawn faster, at a higher level, worth even more experience. Let's see what Kayn chooses to do. He does Raptors, Red, but then decides to invade the enemy's blue, where he dies 1v1 to Xin Zhao. It's this lack of following a standard solid route that is contributing to this player being stuck in his ELO. Now, the third most important area to improve on is map awareness. Now, I don't mean map awareness just in general, but a very specific part of it, paying attention to number advantages. Let's jump back into that replay of a Bronze Warwick. We can see it's 20 minutes into the game, and Warwick just got a pick on the enemy Tristana. After this, he begins moving to collapse on the enemy's mid. Let's pause. Can you tell me why this is the wrong decision? All we have to do is look at Warwick's teammates. Sona is bot lane, and Jhin is in base, meaning he only has two other teammates that are going to help him in this fight. Meanwhile, even though he killed Tristana, there are 4 enemies still alive. In short, there are 3 players on his team collapsing, while there are potentially 4 enemies in mid. This is why we know this will be a losing fight. And sure enough, it ends up being a 4v3, and Warwick and one of his teammates ends up dying while losing a mid turret after. If you're in low ELO, you don't need to understand every facet of macro and decision making. Instead, just being aware of number advantages can be enough to get you to your next rank. Alright, now let's move on to the most common mistakes in mid ELO, which is represented by the rank of Gold. It's here you'll find players are much more likely to have mastered their champion, building and skilling correctly, while having some fundamental knowledge of their combos. However, they still struggle with routes. Let's jump into a replay of a gold Amumu to see what we're talking about. So Amumu is starting out as red. Amumu has a very standard straightforward route in the current meta. I want you to take a moment to think about what it is. Amumu wants to hit level 6, and he has great AoE clear speed. He wants to do red, Krugs, Raptors, into transitioning to his blue side jungle. Let's take a look and see what the gold Amumu does. He takes red, Raptors, and then Krugs. So he knew to full clear his red side jungle for experience, but did it backwards. Then he moved to invade the enemy's blue. However, if we go back to when he started out as red, we can see Aatrox showed top early while the enemy bot lane was missing, indicating the enemy Jarvan was getting a leash at his blue. This is how we would know that the invade on the enemy's blue would never work out. Additionally, by spending so much time on the bottom side of the map, it opens him up to be invaded at his blue by the enemy Jarvan. We can see Jarvan place a ward, and even though he has priority in top and mid, he doesn't choose to punish Amumu, which would have happened in higher elo. Now, the second most important area mid-elo players need to improve at is ganking, specifically recognizing gank opportunities. I want you to take a look at this clip and see if you can spot the gank opportunity that Amumu missed. Amumu is level 6 and near full health with red buff. Looking at the minimap, what is the gank opportunity that he missed? The answer is diving bot lane. We can see the enemy bot lane is pushed under tower and we're in position to react and dive them. Shortly after, we can even see Twitch recalling, indicating he's low on health and needs to go back to base. Without even having to move our camera, we can see the potential gank opportunity bot lane that was missed. When a bot lane is being pushed under tower, there's always a good chance that they've been getting poked a lot. You always want to be on the lookout for possible dives when this happens. Now, the third most important area mid-elo players need to improve at is macro, specifically playing around their laners that have a lead. For example, we can see Amumu gank bot, killing the enemy, and getting the turret after. With this bot tower destroyed, he's going to want his bot lane to begin rotating around the map, pressuring the other outer turrets while following them. Instead, once he recalls, you can see Vayne heading bot while Amumu heads topside. He wants to move with Vayne and help her push out the wave and then ping her to rotate towards the Rift Herald. We can see how by not playing around his winning lane that it results in Vayne getting caught by herself. Yes, it's Vayne's fault for getting caught, but this is gold elo and your teammates aren't going to be playing perfectly. You have to play around them and guide them to the proper macro plays. Alright, now let's move on to the most important areas for players to focus on improving for high elo, which is represented by the rank of Diamond. The first most important area is consistency. What do we mean by this? Well, typically, high elo players will know what the correct play is, but will struggle to consistently make the correct decision. Let's hop into a replay from a Diamond Sylas to see what I mean. He executes an early gank on bot lane that helps them get ahead, and then follows this up with a repeat gank, getting a double kill, and getting the enemy bot tower below half health. It's clear how he should continue to focus snowballing his bot lane, get the turret, and free them up to start rotating around the map. He makes the correct choice to gank them again, getting a kill on Rakan, but then decides to walk away instead of helping push his bot lane to take the bot turret and threaten a dive on Twitch. This results in his bot lane trading 1-for-1 due to an echo gank. Again, we still want to focus on pressuring bot to take the turret and free up our winning bot lane to pressure the map. Instead, we can see that even though Vayne is heading back to lane, Sylas doesn't look to gank bot, and is instead taking a fight on the top side of the map. We can see that his bot lane even wins a fight 2v2 without him, but then again, is prevented from taking the turret by the enemy Pantheon ganking them. He had the right idea to focus bot lane, but then started to become inconsistent with his strategy as the game progressed. Now, the second thing high elo players need to focus on improving is the finer execution. Let me show you what I mean by this. We can see Sylas starting the game with a very standard route of red, Krugs, Raptors, into blue. He clearly understands his routes, unlike the other elos. Additionally, he recognizes a potential dive opportunity topside as a wave is building towards Pantheon's tower. All of this is correct high-level decision making. I want you to pay attention to the execution of this dive though, and see if you can spot what he did wrong and what he should have done instead. The answer is, he forced this dive way too hard. When you build a big wave that crashes into the enemy tower, you can take your time walking directly at the enemy. You don't do any damage to prevent taking tower aggro, both of you just walk close to the enemy to prepare to dive him. We can see Sylas flashes early, which is unnecessary as he can just walk into melee range against Pantheon and save his flash to get out. At the same time, he damages Pantheon too early, pulling tower aggro when Aatrox isn't in position. As you can see, Diamond players can often be aware of the correct high-level play, but then struggle with the finer elements of the actual execution of it. Now, the third thing high-elo players need to focus on improving at is their macro. Now, high-elo players will typically understand fundamental macro concepts. However, where they struggle are again in applying them consistently. They have a tendency to lose their focus during long macro sequences. For example, let's jump into a replay of a Diamond Olaf. Olaf groups and takes a winning fight where they get a pick on the enemy team. Taking a look at the minimap, what is the correct macro play? The answer is to take the mid-outer tower, as the first step in mid-game macro is to take all the outer towers, and we can see Olaf recognize this and hover around the mid-tower. Now, let's pause again. Looking at the minimap, what's the next macro goal for Olaf's team after they take this mid-outer tower? Again, we want to take all the outer towers, and that top outer tower is sticking out like a sore thumb. There's absolutely no reason for Olaf to be playing so aggressively in the enemy's bot side jungle. We can see, because of this inconsistency, that he ends up dying. In the meantime, we can see that Pantheon pushed the top wave, which gave us an easy opportunity to rotate off of taking mid tower into taking top tower, which Olaf ended up missing. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. Did these points match up with you, or do you think there's a different area you struggle in? Let us know in the comment section below, as well as any questions you might have. As always, good luck and have fun on Summoner's Rift.